guys, and welcome to my channel, and today I am going to tell you guys about the natal chart of Gordon Ramsay. I am a huge fan of Gordon Ramsay, and I find his personality type to be super interesting and fascinating, and that's why I decided to have a look at his birth chart. Okay, so here's an image of Gordon's chart. As you guys can see, Gordon has quite the concentration of energy in the sign of Virgo and in the sign of Scorpio. Majority of his planets also span through the 5th house and the 6th house in his natal charts. So basically, if you had to take a Virgo and a Scorpio and you had to mash them together into one person, that is what Gordon Ramsay is. So Gordon Ramsay is basically a combination of a whole bunch of Virgo influences as well as a whole bunch of Scorpio influences. Now, Gordon also obviously has other placements in his charts. However, if you look at his stelliums, it is his stelliums that are the most powerful, and it is also his stelliums that influence him the most in his charts. So as you guys know, Gordon is quite perfectionistic. He is a massive perfectionist. And the thing is, he's incredibly critical as well. So he has a specific way in his mind that he wants things to be, and he expects things to be this way. When things aren't that way, he freaks out. He completely loses it, as you guys know. Now, that is a very Virgo trait to have, because Virgo people are such perfectionists. They approach every single thing in their life with the mentality that the end result has to be perfect. This basically means that Gordon approaches every single thing in his life with that mentality.
Can I just show you something for 2 seconds? Mama Rose, I am absolutely horrified. That's from Thanksgiving. And that, a slimy, vile, sticky flounder and a sour, disgusting cream sauce. I mean, honestly, this restaurant has been run like a pigsty. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Under no circumstances can we continue to serve food. Shut the place down.
Now, because he has his Virgo stellium in the 5th house, which is the house of creative expression, it basically means that Gordon has very strong creative energy within him. He has a very good ability to create things and to actually express himself through what he creates. This is something he is incredibly passionate about. But because this stellium goes through the sign of Virgo within the 5th house, it basically means that whatever he does create, he will likely be perfectionistic about it.
I'm in heaven. And for me, if you want a really nice change to roast turkey, this has to be the ultimate for the table. It smells Christmassy. The chestnuts, the mushrooms, and that nice crisp pastry on the outside. Look at it. I'm ready to die and go to heaven.
Usually when a person has a 5th house Virgo stellium, they're generally very good at things like cooking, at things like creative gardening, landscaping, or whatever it may be. So this specific 5th house stellium that Gordon has in Virgo basically allows him to be incredibly creative, to want to express himself very creatively. However, he will only do this in the most perfect way he possibly can. Gordon is incredibly hard on himself with all these Virgo aspects. In his mind, he does not want to achieve anything other than perfection. And he always does everything he needs to reach that level of perfection in the work he does and in his dishes. The thing about people who have such strong Virgo aspects in their charts, they are so hard on themselves to be perfect. They are so hard on themselves to have things be a specific way that they apply this pressure onto themselves throughout their entire life, and they also apply this pressure onto other people. The thing is, it's tricky for Virgo stellium natives to come to terms with and to understand how other people aren't capable and how other people aren't as able to be as perfect and as polished as what they are. That is where the criticism comes out. That is where the rude, offensive behavior comes out of these natives, because these natives can see how they can do it themselves. They can see how it's possible to be done if you just apply the focus, you apply the energy to it, how come everybody's struggling to get it done?
I'm an emotional person, but he can get in my face all he wants. He will not break me.
You're sending shit, and you're trying to get away with it. Now I'm ready for an argument. Sending me that, you should be ashamed.
Dude, he just wants you to pop off.
And you want to get all sensitive.
So the way Gordon sees things is it's possible for him to perfect a dish. It's possible for him to create something that's basically flawless. Why is nobody else able to put in the same amount of effort that he is to create something that's perfect? And that is why he's critical of people. The thing is, Gordon doesn't criticize to break a person down. Gordon doesn't criticize because he wants you to feel bad about yourself. Gordon uses constructive criticism, which is a very, very common thing that Virgos do. People with very strong Virgo placements use constructive criticism to let people know, hey, you're doing something wrong. Hey, the way you're doing things isn't right. There's a way better way to do things. And the thing is, when these Virgo natives give people constructive criticism, they get offended. Because a lot of people are so unwilling to change the way they're doing things. They're so unwilling to see things through the eyes of another person or to just accept the advice that another person gives them that they get incredibly offended by Gordon's constructive criticism. Whereas at the end of the day, that's all it really is. Gordon just wants everybody around him to be as productive, to be as efficient and as capable as what he is. Gordon can see the potential in the people he meets. And he can see how these people aren't harnessing their full potential. So through criticizing them sometimes, he brings it to their awareness that there are things they need to change because they are so much better than that.
Yolanda, that's a joke.
I understand. I don't want people to get sick, and I don't want them to spread the word that food is bad here.
You're overstaffed, underworked, shit food. I wouldn't trust you running a bar.
Now, Gordon also has a Scorpio stellium in the 6th house. The 6th house is actually the house of health, service, duty, work, and the 6th house actually rules over things such as food. The sign of Scorpio is an incredibly intense sign, as you guys know, and having a stellium in the sign of Scorpio makes you an incredibly passionate person for what it is that you do. You see, the thing is, the reason why Gordon does what he does is not because he wants to be famous. It's not because he wants to be rich. It's not because he wants to be recognized. The reason Gordon does what he does is because he wants to prove to himself that he can become the ultimate success and he can literally make things as perfect as he wants it to be. But with Gordon, the passion that he has for cooking, which is represented by his 6th house stellium in the sign of Scorpio, is something that he does to find inner fulfillment within himself. The only way that Gordon would have been happy in this life, and the only way that Gordon would have felt good about him in this life, is if he dedicated himself to whatever that one thing is that he was truly passionate about and basically becoming successful in that. That is what Gordon really, really wanted. That is what Gordon really desired. So Gordon most likely had a passion for cooking from a very, very young age. And what he did was he poured his passion and his heart and his everything into his cooking. And that is why Gordon Ramsay is one of the best chefs in this entire world, because of that passion, love, and dedication that he has for his cooking. So I made a video about Scorpios and how Scorpios act when they're in love, which I will link in the description to this video. However, in this video, I basically explained how to a Scorpio, their love and their passion that they have for whatever it is that they have, whether it's a person, whether it's a hobby, an activity, a dream, whatever it may be, their love and their passion for that thing completely overtakes them. It becomes their life.
Cooking is a life skill. For me, it's fundamentally important. It's just as crucial as keeping fit, because Latin, history, geography, no disrespect, but if you're not going to teach that for the rest of your life, it doesn't come into play. Cooking does. 3 times a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life, you need to eat. So we don't cook 3 meals a day, but there's one meal across that day that needs to be absolutely you know, on a plate, done properly, healthily cooked, and sets you up, because you are what you eat. So we can never underestimate the importance of food.
Thanks to this Scorpio stellium that Gordon has, he was able to have this tremendous amount of passion within him to embark on and pursue his dreams that he had in terms of opening restaurants and hotels and becoming one of the best chefs in the world. This was something he was so passionate about, and throughout his entire life he's applied so much of his focus and dedication to this. Now, the reason I find his chart to be incredibly fascinating is because the combination of the Virgo and the Scorpio energy is quite profound. So that basically means through the Scorpio side, he has this determined, passionate energy within him for what he does, which is cooking. There's no way you can take that passion away from him. There's no way that passion will ever die. That passion within him will always be there, just like with the Scorpio. When they're passionate about something, they stay passionate about it forever. That is how Gordon Ramsay feels about his cooking. That is how Gordon Ramsay feels about food. Now, if you look at the Virgo side of it, which is the perfectionistic side, it makes sense how he is so incredibly passionate about food, but he can also be so incredibly critical and nitpicky when it comes to food when it is not in its tip-top shape that he expects. Virgo is the sign of perfection and purity, like I said, so what he aims to do is to perfect his passion. He aims to perfect whatever it is that he pours his heart into. Now, the thing is, if Gordon had a different stellium, for example, if he didn't have this Virgo stellium along with his Scorpio stellium, he might have been a little bit different in terms of he might not have had the ability to identify, you know, all the little flaws and all the little things that is wrong with a dish or a restaurant or whatever the case may be. Gordon would have lacked this analytical eye, and he would have lacked the ability to make things as incredibly flawless, polished, and perfect as what it is. It's because of this Virgo and Scorpio combination that he has in his charts that he is the incredibly passionate, fiery, critical, perfectionistic Gordon Ramsay we know. So in a way, I can kind of relate to Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay has a Scorpio sun and a Virgo moon. I have a Virgo sun and a Scorpio moon. So very similarly, just like how he is incredibly passionate about what it is he does, and he's very perfectionistic about it as well, I'm kind of the same. Like when I create something and when I want to put something out there, I want to make sure it is as flawless and as amazing as it can possibly be. I know it's never possible to have anything be as flawless and amazing as what it is in your head, and there's always going to be people out there who disagree with what you've created or they disagree with what you've said. However, I do aim to make it as flawless and as perfect as it can be to me. So through this, I can kind of relate to what Gordon Ramsay is like when it comes to his work and just making sure that everything is just polished, perfect, and flawless all the time. And if it's not, then you will see that critical side come out. Okay guys, this is my video on Gordon Ramsay and his natal charts. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more astrology videos. I've added the links to my social media in the description to this video, as well as my Patreon if you would like to become one of my patrons. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time.